right, hi guys, my name is Roshana, and today we'll be going over the difference between passive and active voice. So to start off, you always want to use active voice when you are writing. And now let's talk about the difference. So passive voice is when the first subject is affected by the verb. For example, the ball was thrown by the boy. Boy is the subject, the verb is thrown, and the affected subject is the ball. So if you wanted to change this to active, you would want to say the boy threw the ball. An active voice is when the first subject is performing the verb. So as we can see, the ball was thrown by the boy is different from the boy threw the ball. For active voice, the subject does the verb first. Meanwhile, for passive voice, the first subject is affected by the verb. So how do you tell the difference? I like this example from the internet. They said, an easy way is to add the phrase by zombies after the verb. After the verb. If the sentence still makes sense, it is passive, and that's not good. If the sentence makes no sense, it is active, and that's good, because you always want to use active. So, for example, the ball was thrown by zombies makes sense, so therefore it is passive. But the boy threw by zombies makes no sense, so it is active. Now let's do examples. Okay, so let's bring this over here for a guide. All right, so which sentence is in passive voice? Witnesses last saw the suspect outside the convenience store on Malala Avenue. The suspect was last seen by witnesses outside the convenience store on Malala Avenue. All right, so let's try this hack by adding zombies after the verb. So the verb is saw. Oh, can I write on it? Okay, so the verb is saw. So let's add zombies after it. So witnesses last saw by zombies versus the suspect was by zombies. Witnesses last saw by zombies makes more sense than the suspect was last seen by zombies. Oh, cut. All right, so we have our first example here. Witnesses last saw the suspect outside the convenience store on Malala Avenue, and the suspect was last seen by witnesses outside the convenience store on Malala Avenue. So I underlined the verb here, and now let's add by zombies after the verb. So witnesses last saw by zombies versus the suspect was last seen by zombies. Right? So the suspect was last seen by zombies makes sense. Therefore, it is passive. Whereas witnesses last saw by zombies does not make sense. And to give a more professional answer, witnesses, this is the subject in the sentence and it is doing the verb. So witnesses saw the suspect outside the object. For this example, the suspect is the object and it is being, the subject is being affected by the verb. So therefore, this is passive. All right, next example. So by this time tomorrow, the theater will have been demolished by a wrecking ball. By this time tomorrow, a wrecking ball will have demolished the historic theater downtown. So let's identify the verb. So demolished and demolished. So let's add by zombies. So by this time tomorrow, the theater will have been demolished by zombies versus by this time tomorrow, a wrecking ball will have demolished by zombies. Demolished by zombies does not make sense. Therefore, this is active and the theater will have been demolished by zombies makes sense. Therefore, it is passive and is trying to and it's asking us to identify the passive. Therefore, this one is passive. All right, next example. On April 18th, 1906, San Francisco was devastated by an earthquake and its fiery aftermath. Devastated is the verb. On April 18th, 1906, an earthquake and its fiery aftermath devastated the city of San Francisco. And it's asking us to identify the passive voice. So the subject is San Francisco. So this is the subject, and the subject is all the way here for this sentence. Usually for active voice, the subject is listed first. So San Francisco was devastated by an earthquake and its fiery aftermath. Meanwhile, the subject is all the way at the end here. And now let's add by zombies. So on April 18th, San Francisco was devastated by zombies. Meanwhile, an earthquake and its fiery aftermath devastated by zombies. So by zombies does not make sense. So although the subject was first here, this would be the active passage. Meanwhile, this would be the passive one. So the correct answer is this one. Okay. One last example. On August 21st, 1911, the Mona Lisa was stolen by Vincenzo Peruggia and a group of accomplices dressed as janitors. On August 21st, 1911, Vincenzo Peruggia and a group of accomplices wearing janitor uniforms stole the Mona Lisa from the Louvre. All right, so the verb is stole or stolen. Now let's add by zombies at the end. So the Mona Lisa was stolen by zombies makes sense. Therefore, it is passive. Whereas Vincenzo and a group of accomplices wearing janitor uniforms stole by zombies does not make sense. So this would be active. So therefore, the answer is this one. That's all.